Hey there Internet, welcome to the Hard On Gear channel where I discuss and review my used and abused knives and gear so that you know what is or isn't worth spending your hard-earned money on. So what does a fellow like me, who tends to be in a lot of various situations throughout the day, I could be in an office, I could be in my vehicle for several hours, could be doing various things, I could be counting piles of deer shit for the sake of data collection, I could be releasing injured or distressed wildlife that we've kind of taken a look at and had to release, could be a bear that had to be relocated. Could be walking through the woods hanging ribbons or getting rid of, say, down debris or trees that have fallen onto a road. I'm going to be carrying various things on me all the time, pretty much for any of those purposes. I just like to have gear and equipment that works and holds up over time, that I don't have to spend a ton of money on, preferably, because I'm probably going to end up losing it or breaking it. For many years, my EDC was just the Recon 1 and my wallet and my phone, and that was all I needed in life. I've slowly added to the things I've carried, and over the years now of working in the woods and working in wildfire and forestry, I've kind of learned it's better for me to have shit on me because I tend to forget stuff. If it's not attached to me via carabiner or in my gear, I might lose it somewhere. Feel free to hammer me in the comments. I don't always carry med on me. I don't always have a first aid kit on my person, in my pocket, or anything like that. I don't walk around with a tourniquet. I understand those things could save lives, but there's not a lot of gunfights in Canada for the most part. I don't live in any big, crazy urban environment where there's all kinds of violence. It doesn't hurt to carry that stuff. It's just extra shit that I don't tend to carry on me in my day-to-day. I do have cat tourniquets, and I do have lots of first aid kits scattered around, and I do have them on my person and in my backpack, and definitely closer to my person when I'm on the fire line, but I don't always have med on me, so I know for some people that's an EDC essential, and it should be, and I should work on more of my med training. This is my EDC. If I'm just going out, just going to pick up the mail even outside, I might just throw a folding knife in my pocket. The Manix 2 is what I'm carrying now for my EDC. I decided to go with a folding knife that was pretty much as rugged as the cold Steel Recon one, but a little less scary and a little smaller. So regardless, even if I'm just walking around the house in a pair of shorts or a pair of sweats, you're gonna pretty much always find the Recon 1 or now the Manix 2 in my pocket, just because, hey, never know, always good to have a folding knife, and I do like practicing my deployments and my draws and doing a little bit of Filipino martial arts drills and that a lot the last couple years. Pretty much always on me is the Manix 2 now from Spyderco. If I'm in jeans and a t-shirt and I'm going out for a stroll, bare minimum, I'll have my key fob, my folding knife, and my wallet. I've got this Chum's wallet now. I had different wallets over the years, just cheap, small, minimalist style things. But a lot of them were open without the zippers that closed well, and my stuff just got filthy. My cards wouldn't work after 4, 5, 6 months. I'd seen Gideon's Tactical talking a lot about this wallet in a few videos here, so I ordered one probably, 3, 4 months ago. And I love it. Super awesome. So far, quite durable. Only 10 or 15 bucks. Super cheap, super affordable, super budget. Not cheap. Very well built for the price of it. The only thing I've gotten here right now is the Esee Randall's Wilderness Adventure Training card. 2 of those come with, I think, every Esee knife. But yeah, so I didn't want you to see my ugly mug in there. So the Chum's wallet, Manix 2, key fob. Nowadays, I like the idea of, well, if you check out the videos where I explain my new EDC carry, it typically involves a fixed blade of folding knife and a multi-tool. Namely, this mini multi-tool Leatherman Squirt PS4, the Manix 2 folding knife from Spyderco, the Esee Izula II fixed blade from Esee Knives. I typically carry it in, say, this little slip type pocket sheath that I slimmed down from the original sheath. Just took a grinder to it and made it a little more pocket friendly. I'll lanyard loop that through one of my belt loops and fire that into one of my pockets, and then if I ever draw it, the sheath's never really going to fall out of my pocket. Also allows you to shift it around the different areas. If you want to put it in your waistband, if you want to slip it from front pocket to back pocket, you can kind of put it wherever you want, and it's quite comfortable there. Or, of course, you could take the lanyard off and just use it as a regular pocket slip, and it would be quite comfortable in there as well. Or sometimes in my jeans, if I'm wearing a sweater or something, I'll still like to carry an appendix carry with this sheath. I've got the fire starter, the magnesium ferro rod that came with the Esee Izula kit, and the belt clip that came with that kit as well. So I'll wear that on the front of my belt appendix style, and I honestly prefer it like that. Unless I'm running through the woods doing a lot of stuff through a lot of brush, I get a little nervous the way that hangs down. I don't want to lose that, and it could pop out of there because the sheath lost a lot of retention from my drawing and such. So I feel like I'm going to get a better outdoor sheath, and by that I mean a new one of these sheaths that I don't wear the crap out of, so it's got very good retention. So the one thing I'll say about these Esee sheaths so far is I have worn down the retention a little bit. but that's from me doing a lot of very rough drawing and resheathing. But the Esee Izula II, Manix 2, Leatherman Squirt are on me pretty much any time I walk out of the door now, if I'm going out anywhere at all. With that normally comes the key fob and the chum's wallet. Aside from that, I'm normally wearing just a cheap-ass Timex watch. I had a, well, this I wore for a couple of years, and I've worn similar ones. I didn't wear a watch for a long time. Then I picked up a cheap-ass watch that I broke or lost. Then I grabbed this one, which is still only probably 40, 50 bucks off Amazon here, the Timex Expedition. Check out the links below, by the way, if you want to grab any of this stuff. I've got the Amazon affiliate links if you want to help support the channel and pick up any of this particular gear. The issue with this stuff for me, though, is that I've ripped this off my wrist probably a dozen times at least. It's bent up a little bit and the pin's quite worn down, and I just don't trust it because I tear through the woods quite aggressively. I broke the band off here that holds the strap in place, and when I ordered the replacements, I ordered a size too small. So I put a couple on here just because I feel like one of them is going to snap off eventually, then at least I've got the backup ready. This watch is actually super comfy, but it's a little bit, the face is a little bit large, so it snags on a little bit more stuff than I would like. I prefer something a little smaller. This is again just a Timex Ironman Triathlon. And this has got the Velcro. Why? Because I won't break it. This is ridiculous. But no, it's so stupid. What am I, 12? And I've had people ask me before, dude, is that a Velcro watch? You're damn right it is. And I've had this one now for about 2 years, and I've used this on wildfires and all kinds of different stuff and working in the woods. I use it when I'm playing around with Filipino martial arts and throwing sticks and knives around. And I've smacked this thing so many times. I've lost one of these screws off the front, and the other ones, they almost look like they've been sanded down. Like that one looks like it's been ground, but no, this has just been worn down quite a bit. But I've normally got this on 24/7. There's no need for me to take it off. So if I am just out jeans and a t-shirt, like I said, this is pretty much what you're going to see me wearing. The other thing I've been using now for the last probably 6 months, a little bit longer, I guess, with some other flashlights. But I've never been a flashlight guy. I thought, well, cell phones, right? We've all pretty much got them now. They have a great flashlight on them compared to a lot of the cheap LEDs that you're going to find. But I just wanted to try it because everyone's done it for so long. Why not give the flashlight thing a go? And for me, my biggest issue was all the decent ones cost a little bit of money and I'm going to lose them. So I went with the cheap Streamlight Stylus Pro. It is a $40 Canadian flashlight. You can get it for 20 bucks in the States. It's very generic, very streamlined, $40 that I can afford to lose. It's a AAA, which AAAs are a little harder to come across. Just be aware that if you're going to have AAA tools, try to have a little extra stockpile of AAAs and AAs everywhere. I prefer to have AAs in my flashlights. Not that it's a big deal, but AAs are everywhere, especially on wildfires for GPSs and handheld radios and different things. AAs aren't hard to come across. But this is a little more thin than what you're going to be able to get for a AA, so it fits in the pocket nicely. I prefer this over a shorter, stubby one because they tend to fly out of my pockets quite a bit easier. This stays in a little bit better, although this did fly out of my pocket not long ago when I was, I think, changing pants for, might have been putting my Nomex fire pants on. It was just about a few weeks ago, and I lost this for a week until a buddy found it in the work truck. So I thought it was sitting in the middle of the woods somewhere. So I ended up ordering another one, and I figured, hey, good to have a spare. I normally end up taking this out of my pocket and putting it by my bedside. Since I thought I lost it, I went and ordered another one just because, well, I did enjoy it so much. It is a very handy little light. I haven't changed the batteries yet in the probably 3 or 4 months that I've been carrying this one, and it's held up quite well. And the amazing thing to me is I have used my flashlights my flashlight, this one in particular, probably as much, some days much more than my knives as far as EDC use. I can't believe it. And even as far as self-defense goes, if you're in a dark alley and you shine somebody with a bright LED, I mean, we're under light here, and this has still got quite a good glow for a $40 flashlight. It's not that bright. I can throw up the lumens up here in the corner. I'm not a flashlight guy. I know it's not that bright. But nonetheless, as far as self-defense goes, you bash somebody in the temple with this a few times, it's not ideal, but it's still better than nothing and less lethal. If you ever checked out Icy Mike's YouTube channel, he goes over a lot of different self-defense and kind of tries to take the bullshit out of it. Not necessarily that he thinks he's right about everything, but he just says, hey, let's just talk about it. Let's see what the different stuff is. Let's see if this stuff's overkill. And he's a big fan of flashlights as a self-defense weapon. Not necessarily the most lethal, but as something that's going to keep you from getting attacked in a mugging situation or whatever. This is actually pretty handy. And again, for the size of it, for the weight of it, It's quite durable, quite sturdy. You could bash somebody pretty good with this, and I honestly think they're gonna stop doing whatever they're doing before too long. But no, seriously, I've been in many situations where I've been like, oh, I got a flashlight on me, hey. How convenient is this? Checking for a leak in my ceiling in my office and different stuff like that. So yeah, flashlights now become a regular part of my EDC rotation. I like this one. You know, I wasn't sure on which one to get. I'd been trying a few different ones. Then I seen Jack Carr do a quick interview with somebody, and he was going over his pocket dump. And you know what? He's got a freaking stylus. So I said, look at that. If Jack Carr is willing to carry that, he's a gear guy. It's a cheap flashlight. His exact reason was the same reason I picked my flashlights, which is I want something decent quality, but not too expensive because I know I'm probably going to lose it. And well, not to sound like too much of a tool here, but he was also one of the final straws that broke the camel's back on the fixed blade, because he's a big proponent of always carrying a fixed blade as an EDC knife. There's many folks that do. Heard the Blade HQ guys talk about it a lot. There's many YouTube knife folks that are big EDC fixed blade people. But it was never my thing. For me, it was impractical. The Esee Izula II, though, I think that's probably one of the better choices if you were looking for one. I'll be grabbing a Bradford Guardian 3 or 3.5, I think, at some point and try that out. A little bit bigger, the 3.5 especially, but a little smaller sheath, and I'll see how that holds up for a appendix carry EDC. I've also normally got a very run-down, ratty drawstring Under Armour bag. There's normally quite a few things in here. I could carry a fanny pack or a satchel, but again, I'm kind of a cheap bastard when it comes to a lot of stuff like this. If I can get away with buying a $15 drawstring bag, throw it around, and not care what happens to it, that's what I'm going to do. So I've got a much better backpack, my Osprey, that's typically if I'm going to do any kind of hiking or any kind of a longer trip or a day trip or something where I want something that's going to be more ergonomic. That's going to be my choice, my go-to. That's also my fire bag for the last few years. Been a big fan of that thing. That's been awesome. But this thing I just always have loaded up with, say, I've got my allergy, cetirizine hydrochloride allergy meds in there, Reactin brand stuff. But yeah, a few different things like that. I've got my battery bank here in this Pelican case. I've got a sticker on the front which would give me away, so I'm going to keep that blocked. But it's just a small little, not that small, Pelican case that I've got a budget-ish, fairly blocky. I need to get a new modern battery bank, but this thing will get about 6 or 7 charges into my iPhone. I can't, what's the wattage on here or whatever. I'm obviously honest, I'm bad with these specs and all that stuff. 20,000 milliamps, so not a small battery bank, but pretty decent. There's much better stuff for the price and the size. Then I've got my power cord for the battery bank if I got to power it up, and of course your standard lightning cable for the iPhone. So if I'm out doing work where I need to use my phone for a lot of stuff, I do a lot of my forestry tally collection stuff on there. So if I'm collecting data on Excel, or if I'm using Avenza Maps, which is an awesome app for doing PDF maps, if you have access to ArcMap software, you can make your own PDFs and do maps that you can follow yourself along like a GPS. This is a very handy tool, the battery bank, to have with you, and I've got it carabinered up here, and a little extra reinforcement with the hockey tape, but double carabinered that I could throw this on my backpack. Yeah, if I'm loading up at the beginning of the day for the fire line, I tend to end up throwing a bunch of food and water into my bag. Takes up a lot of the room, some extra gear, nozzles, that kind of thing, so that I can start popping a few of these things out, like large water bottles and this pack, and throw the carabiners onto the outside of my pack. Then as the day goes on and I make more room in my pack, I can throw this stuff back in. But very handy to have on your person. Other than that, there's a few other things in here. There's normally a bag with a few like dried meat sticks or something like that, like some just a few food items just for emergency's sake, or if I feel like maybe I'm going to hit up Burger King and I shouldn't, and I want to go and grab something to take the edge off. Bit of a recovering food addict, if you want to call it that. I also carry this K-Bar 1211 in there most of the time. Actually, I've been sticking this on my fire belt lately, so it probably is going to go back in there. But I normally have this or my K-Bar large heavy Bowie in this bag just to have it there just in case I ever need a large fixed blade for something. Not normally on my person. I'm not carrying this in the mall with me or anything, but in my car, or if I'm out at a buddy's place or something, I tend to just carry this bag with me. And hey, we might end up out in the woods, we might end up, fuck knows, but it's good to have something like that on my person. And hey, if you like knives and you enjoy using them, there's normally a purpose for a large fixed blade somewhere in your life if you look hard enough. Also in there most of the time, or at least on my person, is now lately a Nalgene bottle, of course. I've had different water bottles over the years, but if you've learned anything through water bottle purchasing and you've kept track of police and military and all these different professions, mountain climbers and whatever, pretty much anyone who has a brain uses Nalgene. They're extremely durable, extremely reputable, and well, they're different varieties. I prefer the narrow mouths just because I tend to chug water like an idiot. It helps me conserve like this. I've also got the Engine bottle, which is a little bit smaller, and it's got a better, more sturdy carabiner holder. This isn't really designed to hold a carabiner too well. I mean, yeah, it can, and it sort of probably is designed that way, but it will wear over time, and this will eventually break. The Engine bottle is very sturdy, and that's what I typically carabiner. If I'm on the fire line, I'll use that and keep that on my hip. Pretty much stays somewheres in my car or in that bag at all times. I try to keep water on me in a decent quantity, so well, never know when you might need a liter of water. Could get you quite a ways if you ended up stuck somewheres. And that's what else is in here nowadays, like extra freaking masks and balaclavas or whatever for the good old COVID days. Oh, I know what else I forgot to mention is the Whoop strap. So this little black thing on my right hand here, my offhand, is the Whoop strap. Now, this is a fitness/sleep tracker, a little different from your Fitbits and your Apple Watches and your Garmins. This is a piece of plastic, more or less, with a little bit of hardware in it. But this is a cheap piece of hardware that's all based around the software and the app. If you sign up for Whoop, and there's a link down at the top of the description here, if you sign up using that link, so you get the free Whoop strap, and you get to pick your color and band, and you get to match that however you feel fit, and you get a free month free if you pick that, if you use that link down there. The Whoop strap is pretty much going to help you figure out anything you want to know if you're using different things for your sleep, but whether that's like melatonin or magnesium or different stuff that you want to keep track of. I want to keep pumping knife videos out for a while, but I'll do a video on the Whoop strap here before too long, going over the full details of what I think of it. But this is essentially what I think is the best hard-on gear fitness tracker you can get. You're paying for a monthly subscription instead of one big price, so you pay nothing really for the strap compared to like 300 bucks for an Apple Watch or whatever model you're getting, whatever cost. Got this sleeve, which I use whether if I'm doing jiu-jitsu or if I'm running a chainsaw or doing anything like that. This slides over your bicep, and it's quite comfortable. You can get different sizes, and the little Whoop bit slips in here, and it's pretty slick for that. But I carry this little bag in there as well. I've got the extra battery and the extra larger strap, just in case something would ever happen to this one. Duh, there's something I forgot. The phone, obviously. Now, get over it, I'm an iPhone carrier. This is an old school iPhone 8. I gotta get with the times. Oh my god, no, this is a 7. I don't keep up with my phones. So long as it still works and it doesn't blow up on me, I really don't care. I'll get a new one when I feel like it's the right time and the cheapest time to upgrade. When I say new, I mean like a 2-year-old, whatever the model is. But regardless, iPhone in a life-proof case. I've got plenty of experience with different OtterBoxes and life-proof cases, and I can tell you, I preferred life-proofs. I've used them both quite a bit, ruined plenty. Neither of them are going to hold up that long. A couple fire exports that I can tell you you're going to wear through either one of them. But life-proof's waterproof, a little more slim in the pocket, probably a little less impact resistant, but I much prefer them, and I'll do a video at some point here discussing my opinions, at least, on the pros and cons between Apple and sorry, not Apple and Android, because I don't want to get into that debate. I don't care. I've had both. To me, I don't care about Androids. I prefer the user friendliness, and if Apple wants to take over the world and do their Apple thing, whatever. The lightning cable annoys me, but I'll get over that. I also tend to carry fire on me, normally in the form of a lighter. Bic lighters are cheap, might as well have them everywhere, because you never know when you're gonna need them. But if I ever were somewheres, I'd like to know I had some fire on me in case I needed to start a fire in the worst case scenario. And hey, as someone who doesn't smoke on a regular basis, like I'll smoke the odd cigar here or there and different stuff, but I'm not a cigarette smoker, so if somebody needs a light, it's kind of fun to be like, yeah, sure. Now, if I'm at work and I'm wearing my 511 strike pants, so a little more pockets, a little more versatility, I might carry a few more things. So I'm much more likely to carry a notebook or an agenda or something on me with a pen. I should spend a little bit of money, pay 30, 40 bucks for a sturdy, hard-use pen that might last me. It's not one of those things I've never gotten into because, again, another rabbit hole, another place to spend a bunch of money. Normally in my person, even if I'm just in my car or in jeans, there's normally a notepad or at least a little spiral book or something, because I've learned throughout the years, if I don't write it down, I might forget it. That's for sure. Sometimes at work I'll carry a fixed blade on my hip, like a vertical, typical dangler carry. This is the Grohmann D.H. Russell #1 design belt knife. Doesn't get a lot of use. I've used it recently here doing some dissection at work for animals, but for the most part now I've got the Esee Izula as a smaller, more manageable fixed blade. And if I'm going to be carrying a fixed blade for work, I'm normally going to throw that on my hip for work, or the K-Bar 1211, something a little more sizable if I'm going to go through the effort of wearing something on my hip. Also, if I'm at work, I'm swapping that little fab out for the other one, which is more beat up, got more cracks in it, but this is my work set with, of course, my work keys on it, and this little tiny flashlight that I got from House of Knives for just like a free gift on order, I believe. I can't remember. I'll plug up here whatever this thing's called, the brand of it. Just a cheap little light that you can stick on your keychain. Nice to have an LED in case you need to see something. So really, the only thing on here that I guess I would always have on me now is some other knives. I tend to now carry another knife in my right pocket, and not for any tactical reason. It's because I like fiddling with these things, and playing around with these knives has become part of my studying for channel reviews and such. So for doing these knife reviews, I need to have more fiddle time, and I've got plenty of time to fiddle some days. I just got to make sure the knives are on me. So those 511 tactical pants, I mean, they're made to be able to hold a bunch of spare magazines if you're using them for police or military, but for me, they become extra knife pockets. So I normally have a few extra knives on me just so I can play around with them and just get a feel for the deployment and possibly use them in different situations and compare their use to other knives that I use on a regular basis. So we'll say we typically have another 2 knives on me there now for something to do or something to fiddle with. I do often find me carrying a Lansky Blade Medic at work now. I don't need to. I like keeping a little microfiber cloth so I can maybe, if I'm bored, and just polish up my Manix or something. But it's kind of nice for taking nicks out of machetes or axes or knives or anything else like that. This is the new one, hasn't been used too much. Nice to have one of those kicking around on your person or in your bag. Not necessarily needed on your person, but if I'm out in the woods hacking around, kind of cutting trail or something like that with hand tools, putting flags up, it's not bad to have one of these up if I'm just sitting down for a water break and want to do a quick touch-up job. Headphones. I've normally got something on me. I've got the iPhone headphones, a few different sets. People tend to give me them because they're not a big fan of the generic white ones that you get with your iPhone. Mine get pretty worn down. Yeah, there's a set of mine, got some electrical tape, and they're pretty beat up, but they're decent. But as many of you know, they're not great for doing work. You're going to get tangled and you're going to get wrapped up and stuff, and they're just not going to last forever. These here, I was doing a little bit of reviewing of YouTube videos, and these MPOW M30s seem to be pretty awesome. Son of a bitch, when I pulled those out, they connected to this phone and stopped the video. So try that again. So the MPOW MP30s, pretty awesome. I was looking for earbuds that would be durable and have good battery life and stay in my freaking ears, and if I did drop them, they're not going to explode. I've had cheaper ones, not a big fan. Say for the most part I've used the wired ones, or I've used bigger headphones. I wanted to try something true wireless just so I had that extra flexibility to hit the heavy bag and lift and do squats and different things without having to worry about the headphones falling off my head or out of my ears. So far, these things hold up pretty well to that. The sound quality is pretty good. I'm mostly like a metal guy or a different alternative rock and stuff, so if you're listening to bands like Muse or Rush or System of a Down, anything where they've got different layered instruments sort of fading in and out of the background, these are pretty good for picking out those individual sounds, for cheap headphones anyways. And the battery bank for this lasts about 100 hours, so pretty awesome. It's pretty big and beefy, but it's very solid. It feels like it's going to last a decent amount of time. The lid got a decent spring or a decent hinge in there, so it's not feeling like I'm going to snap it off too easily. And yeah, 100-hour battery life, plus you can charge your phone on this if you need to. Pretty freaking slick. Oh, and 5 hours of battery life in these little guys, if I didn't mention that. But yeah, that's it. I mean, I say that's it. Look at all this stuff. There's something else that I kind of should have probably brought up. Belt. I've been using this Grip 6 belt for probably close to a year now, I guess. Yeah, sometime around last summer. This is just the regular one. They do make a work belt, a little thicker, heavier duty. In Canada, we're not allowed carrying concealed carry or anything like that, so I don't need it for a gun belt or anything. So the lightweight one works just fine for me. I know this is probably more extravagant than what most people would carry. And again, for me, if I'm just out in jeans and a t-shirt, really just this stuff right here is the bare essentials. But yeah, I mean, some people I know carry a lot more than this. Some people focus a lot more on med, and that's an area where I could definitely use some some improvement. So if there's anything like that or anything else you're thinking of or you're seeing out here that I might have totally ass backwards, or you think I might be missing something that's going to benefit me quite a bit in my everyday carry, let me know down in the comments. Feel free to critique my carry and or give me any advice or any potential upgrades for any of this gear that could be beneficial. So I guess that's it for now. Thanks for watching. This is the Hard On Gear channel signing off.